Hello everyone and welcome to this webinar on Moodle Workplace Learning Analytics. So first of all, could you please put a message in the chat just to let me know if you can see my screen okay and you can hear me okay? Okay, so first of all, oh, I seem to have accidentally hit mute. There we go, back again. So this is me, Deborah Quaidolo, e-learning consultant here at Enovation, and there are my contact details, phone number and email address. So if you want to know more after the webinar, then don't hesitate to get in touch. Okay. Here we are. This is what we do here at Enovation. So we work with open source platforms, Moodle, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, the educational LMS that's they're mainly focused on, and then Moodle Workplace is the enterprise version, the workplace version of Moodle, and what we're going to be looking at today. It basically, it looks as if they've taken all of the more advanced features that are in Totara, next up there, and have simplified them. So Totara would have a very powerful reporting feature, and audiences as well. You can pick and choose exactly who does what learning and who appears in what reports, and Moodle Workplace would then take those features but have them in a simple version, so it wouldn't be quite as powerful, but it has all of the features that you're most likely to want to use, like the favorites. And then Our Talent is our in-house platform, and it's featured it's all around talent management and succession planning and helping your workforce to improve. There you go. And so we are Moodle partners and ISO 27001 certified, so for data protection. So next up are services, what we do here at Enovation. So consulting, we bring you right through from the beginning of your project to content creation using SCORM or native features of the LMS or third-party plugins. Then if you want even more, we've got our developers here for custom features. And then we do training, so administration of your LMS, course creation, training as well, and content, so SCORM, training on that as well. So any features, any level that you need, you can get in touch and we'll see what we can do for you. We do hosting, of course, as well. If you're going to have an LMS with us, then we'll host it on our secure servers. And then, of course, throughout the whole lot, we'll be supporting you along the way. Okay. And here are our offices. We have our main offices here in Ireland, and then we've got offices in France, in Poland, and the United States as well now. And there's a few of our clients. So some from Ireland, we've got American, a mixture there, just to give an idea. Now, moving on to our main topic of the day, learning analytics. So learning analytics, it's all about accessing the data that's on your learning management system and looking at the trends of participation, submission to assignments or quizzes, and any other data on the site to help your educators to improve their courses, to improve the site, to improve how people are assigned to learning, if it's actually suitable for them, and you can adjust sort of timings, how long they have to do courses, or how the content is presented, if it's sequential or all presented in one go, and just to improve the general learning experience to help your learners, whether they're students or your employees, for policies or whatever else. So learning analytics, it's divided into 4 stages, 4 types. So there is the descriptive, what happened. So that's the reporting that you know. So you might know already about the activity completion reports or course completion reports. They just give you information on exactly what happened, who did what. But maybe we need more information than that. So we might want to know why it happened, and you need to know what will happen next. So if somebody is at risk of dropping out of a course, or not at risk of not reaching the criteria for course completion. And then prescriptive, so what is the best action? So we'll be looking at that. So we'll be looking at the general course reports, so site reports, course reports, user reports, everything that is native not only to Moodle Workplace, but also the original Moodle itself. So you'd be familiar with those reports. But then we will also be looking at the custom reports feature in Moodle Workplace, and the learning analytics, Inspire analytics that is in Moodle and is in Moodle Workplace. And Workplace has extra features on top of what is in the Moodle platform itself. So we'll be looking at all of that. So not just the basic reports, but going that step further. Okay. So before we get into that, we will have a quick review of the features in Moodle Workplace. Now, this is the 3rd webinar now on a bit of a mini series on Workplace. So if you want to look at these features in more detail, there are 2 webinar recordings up on our YouTube channel. So just do a search for Enovation in YouTube and you'll be able to find us there. So here I'm just going to do a quick run through, highlighting the newer features that are in version 3.8. So of course we've got multi-tenancy. So you can separate out with separate look and feel for each of your entities on the site. So say departments, or if you're a training company, you might have different training centers, so they would each be a separate entity, and the users, the learning would all be separated. But that doesn't actually have to be used, so you can benefit from all of the features of Moodle Workplace without separating them into separate tenants. So the programs, the dynamic rules, all of these features, you can still benefit from them, but as a single tenant. So next up, we've got organizations. So this would be how you would separate your users into departments and positions, and they would each have their job assignment, and then you can have team leaders, the hierarchy of positions and departments, in order to see reporting on those people. Reports, so we'll be looking at that, and particularly the custom reports is the main feature for Workplace. It's got a great drag and drop feature, so the reports are very simple and easy to create. Dynamic rules, so it's a condition action drag and drop feature to set up roles. So if somebody is a member of a certain department, they can be automatically assigned to a program of learning, for example. So we've got programs, so with a series of courses all set together. You can set up one of must be completed, or you can set like a set of courses. You can have all or any rules and sequences of courses, and you can have this, you can wrap them in certifications, so they can have expiry dates, and then they're also now in the 3.8 version recertification. So once somebody has expired, they can be automatically allocated to the recertification path, which can be the same or different to the original, and all done automatically using the dynamic rules. Now in 3.8 there's this new feature of appointments. So it's a face-to-face sign up within courses, and what's particularly good about the version in Workplace is that not only can you set up like face-to-face sessions that people can sign up to, but you can also set up a series of appointments or interviews. So, for example, if you were to do like testing, 15-minute long testing, you can set up, say, 10 sessions of 15 minutes with 5-minute intervals between each one, and that can all be done in one go, instead of having to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we've got certificates. So this is custom certificates. You can create them exactly as you want them, and then using dynamic rules, they can be issued on completion of a certification, for example. And then, of course, there's the Workplace app, which is very similar to the Moodle app, except that on the user's dashboard, they have 2 tabs, one for their courses, individual courses, and one for their programs or certifications that they are enrolled in. So they're completely separate, and there are 2 tabs. So that's very handy. Okay, so that's the overview of Workplace. And as I say, there are a couple of other webinar videos up on our YouTube channel that you can take a look at if you want to look at those features in more detail. Okay. Well, what we're looking at today is the reporting and analytics in Workplace specifically. So next up, we're looking at the standard site, course and user reports. So although you may already be using a Moodle site, we tend not to look at everything because we have other things to do and we don't have time. So it's good to wander around and have a look at all the various different reporting features, and we can sometimes discover something that's really interesting that we didn't realize was available to us. So here is an example of one of the site level reports. So here I've got, see, it says course Workplace demo. That's because it's that's the actual site name. It's the overall. So this one here is just a statistics report on all activity by all roles. So we can see here that there were a lot of people that connected on the site in October, and then it went down in sort of November, December, and then up again in January and February. So because this was when we were setting it up, this because it's a demo site, setting it up originally back in October, and then I think it must have been around December where we were doing another webinar, and then sort of January, February, like we see here, going back into the site in preparation for this webinar. That's why it's peaking again in towards the end of February, as you can see there. So it can be handy to see just general use of the site, if the people, your employees, are engaging in it. And so you could maybe send out an email if you see that use is quite low. You might send out a company-wide email to advertise the site again, or you can use this information to then check out what the reason for a peak or a dip is and work from there. So there are other, of course, site level reports, the logs, so you can see everything that's happening on the site. There are question instances, how often particular question types are used. Some that, like that might not be very useful to you, but statistics can be very useful at a site level. Then we've got, of course, the course reports, which would be the most commonly used. And I'm sure you're all aware of the activity completion report. So you would have a list of all your users in the course, and you'd have tick boxes showing which activities they've completed and not completed. So you can follow up on people. But this here is the participation report, which we tend not to look at so much. It's overlooked a bit, but this can be very handy in that we can see here who has actually, this is a SCORM activity in a particular course, and we can see how many times each of the users have gone into this particular activity. And if there's one that where it might say no, instead of, you see all of these users have gone in, it says yes for each one of them. But if any of them have no, then you can tick the box and you can send them a message and say, please complete this activity, for example. So you can follow up right away. So that can be very handy. That would be more of a prescriptive report there. You can see what's happening and you can action it immediately. Choose the best action by contacting them and seeing what the story is, getting them to do the work. And then to go a little further into a particular user, we've picked that guy there, Barry Boot. If you go straight in to click on his name there, it links to his profile, both his profile and reports for this particular course. So here we can see that he has gone into, this was in the original report there, it says DP employee, and we see that he has gone into this activity, and from his complete report, this is called, in his user profile, we can see this is exactly when he went into it. First access, last access. This one doesn't have a grade, so that's normal that we don't see a grade there, but it's got a status of completion, so of completed. We can see that there, and we can also see that he viewed the file read DP policy. So we can see that he viewed that file. So it means that you can really follow up on individual users that you might see have issues. Okay, so these are the three levels of standard reports: the site level reports, the course level reports, and the user level reports. And at each level, there are various different ones. Okay. So now we are going to move on to look at, the custom reports in Moodle Workplace. So we can see here that you can create the reports on various different elements of the course. So this one here, appointments, this is a new in version 3.8. You can see reports on the face-to-face appointments, the sign-ups. We've got the certifications, programs, we've got course completion and users, and here course reset for individual users. So that's a new feature as well, that one. So we can create our own individual customer reports, and here would be how you might set up a custom report. You just click on each one, whatever you want to add in to the report, just click, click, click. Really simple and easy. And to remove we've got the X there, and you can rename them. Really just very simple setup of these. And in this case, we want to see certificates and their completion. So this is what we added in: certificate name, the full name of the user, and we wanted to see their position and their department. And you can set up then this is actually an old screenshot. I notice here we've got access here, so we can see who has access to this. But one of the new features is there's a tab that says audience, so you can actually choose who appears in the report, what audience appears in this report. That's very handy as well. Extra features. That's what's great about Workplace, that it's an evergreen platform, so you will be seeing the new features appearing as they're brought out. It'll always be up to date. So it's great in that way. You'll always be benefiting from the latest and greatest. So here's the output of that particular report. So we see that we've got a color-coded list here for whether they're open. This is their certification, so if it's open to do the certification, if they are certified, or if they have expired, and the date that they certified. Okay, and then of course you can download there to CSV, so that's very handy. So really very simple setup, and you can really pick and choose what you want to see in your reports. That's exactly why they're called custom reports. And then we've got Inspire Analytics, something that is absolutely fantastic in my opinion, but is seldom used because people are often unaware of it, and it's being improved constantly. So previously, there were just the students at risk of dropping out and courses with no teaching. That was all that was there. And then with each new version of Moodle and each new version of Workplace, new models have been added in. So between Moodle 3.8 and Workplace 3.8, we've got this one here, students at risk of not meeting the course completion conditions. That's a plus in Workplace. That's not in regular Moodle 3.8 yet. And previously with analytics, the reason why it wasn't used quite so much is because you had to set a start date and an end date in your courses for it to really work properly and to give good reporting on it. But now they've got it to 1 week after start. So 1 week after the student has started the course, not 1 week after the course start date. 1 week after the student has started the course, or they're 1 month after start, or in the past month, in upcoming week. So we can see from these reports, these are all the standard, okay? You can create new models as well, but these are all the standard one. They've got their indicators set up, analysis intervals set up, and then you choose the course you want to look at from the list, and you've got your actions. And so what we're looking at here is not just the descriptive. What we're looking at here is predictive in students at risk of not meeting the course completion conditions. So that from what they've been doing so far, we can predict what they will be doing, and so we can prevent the student from not meeting the conditions in time. Okay. And we can see if students have not accessed the course yet, we can see if they've got activities due, so we can preempt any issues. So it's a game changer. This is fantastic, and particularly because of having the new analysis intervals in there. Really great. So here we can also create our own models. So what I've picked in this, for this screenshot, is I pick the target. There's a drop down. There's various different elements you can choose. So students at risk of not meeting the course completion conditions. We have chosen just quiz. So there's quiz social and quiz cognitive. Quiz social means that you have actually you've gone into the quiz, you've looked at it. Quiz cognitive means that you've actually submitted to it. So it's the difference between a view and an action. And then I've set the analysis interval to 1 month after start. And I've selected the context. So just in this category, you can choose categories or courses so you can really personalize the model. And so this would appear in the course itself. Now, something important here, because this is workplace, if you do have your site separated by tenant, then each of the tenant admins will not see the site level analytics models, but they will see models that are applicable to their course. And they will then see only the students in that course, because that's the whole thing about workplaces, that we want to keep everything separated. Okay, so now we have gone through those 3 sections, the standard reports at site level, course level, and user level. And so we've seen that, and we've seen the custom reports, and we've seen the Inspire analytics. So now we're going to take a quick look of this in action. We're going to quickly go through. So here I am logged in as an administrator, and we can see in the site administration menu, reports, and I'm going to click there on statistics. And we see here, this is what I was looking at, workplace demo. We'll choose delete maximum and click on view. And here we see the report. Now we see this is different to on the screenshot, because we've got this huge peak here where it corresponds to this guess. If I remove the guess, we can see everybody else. We can see all of those. So then we can scroll down and we can see here we had this huge number of guests logging into the site, and that's what indicates that. If I was to choose a different course, let's see if something appears in here. Okay, not much happening there. 23rd of February, there were 4 guests and 4 students. So there we go there. And if I choose a different one, if I choose, let's see, team building, what do we have here? There. So we've got in October and in November, we can see that there were guests there and a lot of students, October, November. So that could indicate, so things like if there's a certification, it might show that there's a huge peak in the courses that belong to that certification just before it is due, just before expiry. So that could be an indication of that. So that's one of the site level reports. Now, if I was to go directly into this course, team building, and we can click here and on more, and we've got our reports here. So we've got the various different reports. Now, you'd be aware of the activity completion one with our tick boxes there. And if I go back, I can look at the course participation. So what we can see from the various reports, so we see here Daisy Dwyer, it says that she is not. This is learn more about, it is a choice activity. It's not gone in, so I can just click there and send a message to her. Okay. Please complete choice activity. Send a message. There we go. So we can interact directly with students with this report. So this can be really handy, and it's often overlooked in the reporting because we are focused on just whether the activities have been complete or not, and we want to know course completion. We're not interested in anything more than that. But we've got other things like event monitoring. So in feedback, we can subscribe, to the feedback. If a response has been submitted, then we will receive an email notification when a response has been submitted. So these things can be very, very handy to take a look at, and we should. It would be good to. Go in and wander around, take a look. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click directly into Carl Byrne there. And here we see we are in his profile, but in his profile in this course. So we see the reports related to this course. So if I click now on complete report, we see his full complete report for this course. So we can see here he has put in a new discussion topic. He's written in the forum, and we can see that he has chosen lack of teamwork skills. So he has answered the choice activity. So in this way, we can see exactly what users are doing in each of the courses. Okay. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go in now as a site. It's a tenant administrator, and we're going to look at the custom reports. So as a tenant administrator, I don't have the same site administration menu. We have a more restricted view than an overall site administrator. We can access the administration here or through the shortcuts here. So I'm going to click directly on Report Builder, and we can see here the various reports. I've got some here set up already. This is the users report. So as I was saying before, we've got audience as well as access there. So if I click audience, I can choose. So it's showing everybody that's got the position of food and beverage director and below. That's what's in the report. And here we can see that this is really a very simple and easy to use feature. I can just drag the elements around, and we can click here to remove or click here to add, and we can see from here the various conditions, filters, sorting. It's so easy to set up, and then we can see it, the actual report view like this. Okay, and then download. So you can really pick and choose what you want. Another of the reports, which is great, is the courses report here. If I click in, so here we've added in an element for the course that's a this demo of is actually a custom course field. So you can add your custom fields as well. Very simple to set up, and then just literally just drag and drop the features there, or click delete, click add. This is how it's done. So that's been added to the end of the report, so we can just then drag it over if we want it closer to the front of the report. So that's how, see, now it's appearing in the middle there. That would be the custom reports. Okay, and then so back as the overall administrator, I'm going to look into the analytics here. So this is the report, the whole lot. And so if I go into, for example, students at risk of not meeting, have not accessed the course recently. Okay, have not accessed recently, and I'm going to choose this course, and we can see the list of users, and then I can see their individual outline report. So we can see it hasn't been recent, Okay, and if I go back and I can move back a level, so for this course I can click here and I can see an insights report for this, and if I choose that course, team building, I can see an overall report of this course. So we can see the outline report for everyone. If I select other courses, okay, induction, oh, nothing for them yet. Okay, yes, this was the one that I wanted to look at. But if I go back, okay, a bit more, okay. So I've not accessed the course yet. This is the insights report for this is the one I wanted to see. There we go. So we've got here the actions one. So send a message, because I sent a message to one of the learners previously. So I sent a message to one of the learners there, and then outline report we can see. So, and incorrectly flagged as well. So, and then we can hide various ones if we want to see the particular information, if we want to focus on certain areas. So very useful, handy to see. Now, if I was to go to that same course, a team building, move back here. I want to go to I'm going to click here from the shortcut. That's the easiest thing to do. Team building, and go into the course. And so in those reports that we were looking at earlier, there is also one called Insights. So this is the analytics that can be set up by the site administrator, but any information that is applicable to this course and these users will appear here. And we can see, so we can click to see their outline report, their overall, and we can send them messages directly, or we can say that somebody was incorrectly flagged. So we can eliminate them from the list. So if it's something like they haven't accessed the course recently, it might be just because they completed the course a long time ago and they don't need to go into it anymore. So in that case, this report can tell you that either those users should be just marked as incorrectly flagged, because it's great you're showing us that, but we don't need to know it. We don't care anymore, or it means that you should be unenrolling them from the course, or they should be re-enrolled into a different course. Perhaps the course should be part of a program or certification instead, where their progress would be wiped for a new the recertification to go through that. So so that's all of that. And if I go back to these analytic models, you can see there how you can create new models as well. And here you can see this, you've got your various different options, and then you've got your various different indicators, what you can look at. So if there are activities due, if there's student enrollments, if the user profile is completed, if that's necessary. You've got all the various different activities that you can be looking at. So you can use any of these as indicators of, and you can select as many as you want, of what you want to predict. You can choose what elements of a course you want to be looking at. And then you choose your analysis interval, and past 3 days, past month, 1 month after start, upcoming fortnight. There's lots of different, you see there 10% after start, you have lots of different options for that now. So It's not a question of you must be part of a course in a school with a specific start date or end date. It's really adapted to the workplace because everybody starts at a different time, a different stage. Okay, so that's that. And as I say, then the tenant administrator will be able to see what's applicable to the courses in their tenancy. Okay. So we've gone through each of them. The site standard site course user reports. We have looked at the custom reports in workplace. Previous webinars have actually gone into maybe a bit more detail in that and actually creating reports, setting them up, and then we have been looking at the Inspire analytics as well. So lots of different ways of looking at the data on your site and being able to analyze why a student might not have be reaching the completion conditions. Perhaps from participation, you see that they've actually gone into an activity 20 times. So maybe there's an issue with it, that they're getting stuck, there's or a problem somewhere, and you can predict what could happen, like with this particular report, at risk of not meeting the conditions, and then you can select what the best action might be based on the results that you are seeing in each case. Okay, so now we are going to, this is just what's coming in the future. So in Workplace 3.9, which will be, it's due to be out on the 12th of May, there will be, they're working on tenant import and export, which is basically, if you know of the course backup and restore, which is so handy, gives you a real head start with creating new courses. And there's a similar, there'll be a similar feature for tenants. So instead of creating each of the tenants separately, you can duplicate them and then edit from there. So that would be very handy, uploading, downloading from the site. And then there'll be tenant allocation via dynamic rules. Those dynamic rules are fantastic. They simplify everything. Very easy to set up as well. Similar to the custom reports, it's real, just like, click, drag and drop. Very handy feature. And users can be allocated to the different tenants dynamically like that in future. And then there'll be shared, tenant shared programs. It is possible now to share courses between tenants. But this will be actual programs, because at the moment you can set up programs separately in each tenant and then add courses that are shared between tenants. So this would be a new, more simplified, handy setup. Okay. And then in upcoming releases, there'll be more improvements to the custom reports and the user dashboards as well. So I'll be looking forward to seeing that. Okay, so now, does anybody have any questions for me? Make this bigger. There's a new layout to GoToMeeting, so I'm getting used to it. Okay. Can that report be automated rather than run manually? Which report are you talking about in particular? The custom reports? If you're talking about the custom report, yes, okay. Yes, all automated. They can be scheduled to be sent out to people, and they will always be reporting on the current situation. Whoever is certified or expired or whatever, it'll be the information at that current time, and any user that has permission to see those reports, they would just go to their shortcut tab up the top right, click on custom reports, and they will see the information there. But then also, yes, it can be sent out directly, scheduled via email to individuals or to groups of people, to audiences of people. So yeah, right. How easy would it be for an existing tutorial setup to be converted to Moodle Workplace? Well, nothing's ever easy. Converting a tutorial setup to Moodle Workplace. Nothing's ever easy. They're two different platforms. Now, the courses themselves, it would be, I mean, it's the same type of course. So I have previously backed up and restored courses from Moodle to Tara and vice versa. So there shouldn't be any issue there. But the hierarchy is a different setup. Got to say simpler in Workplace. But say, for example, somebody's manager, a direct report into Tara. In Workplace, it's succession planned, so you don't match people with each other, a manager and team member. It's a position that would be linked. So it's a different setup. So in some ways it's easy enough. In other ways it's not so easy. It would have to be at a case-by-case basis. Okay, advantages of Tara over Moodle Workplace. Honestly, I love Workplace. It's like the simple version, but Tara does have certain advantages. It is, I don't know if you'd say a more powerful platform, but say, for example, the reporting, it is much more complex, but the complexity of it means that you can really get exactly the precise information that you need, particularly for big multinational corporations. And so the audiences, you know, in Workplace, you'd have basically you're part of a particular department. You know, there's and/or rules, but they're more simple. Whereas in Totara, you can really pick out that you must be a part of this department, but this other profile field must equal this, and you know, it's really precise. So Totaro is more powerful in certain things, and then Workplace picks out the best features and simplifies them. So depends on your particular needs, really. Okay. H5P activities included in the indicators for insights. That I would expect so. Yes, I'm not sure if they're included yet. I have to get back to you on that. If you can put in your email address into the chat, that would be great for see if H5P activities are included in indicators, because all of the activities are included, but H5P has been added in the latest version. So because it wasn't there before, it might not be in the indicators yet, but I'm sure it will be in future, no doubt there. Okay. And yes, talking of the transferring from a Totara site to a Workplace site, because of the new import-export feature, that would really simplify the transfer from one site to another. Yeah, position rather than people, it is very handy because if you have to update, talking about linking direct reports via position rather than via person, it means that you don't have to keep updating everything. As soon as somebody gets a new position in a new department, you don't have to then go into each individual team member and make sure everything is updated. It will be all automatic. Very handy for that. Will the presentation be on YouTube channel? Yes, it should be up, and well, I would guess within the next couple of days. It should be there. We've got our Enovation YouTube channel. I think you need to put in enovation.ie to find us easily, because if you put in Enovation, I think there's a few other similar named companies in other countries, and YouTube shows everything. Okay, I've got your email address there, Frank. Thank you very much. Okay. So does anyone else have any other questions? You're welcome, Frank. Okay, now one last slide for you to show you. Here we go, our upcoming webinars. So on the 11th of March, Enovation Ireland is going to be doing a webinar on Moodle 3.8, the overview of all the new features there. So that will be lovely to see. Things like when we were looking at, the custom course field, that's a fairly new feature, and you can now filter courses by those custom course fields in the dashboard. So some quite handy things to see there. And then on the 4th of March, Enovation USA will be doing a presentation on Tutara, titled Maximize, the Z because they're American, the ROI of your online training. So there we go. You're welcome, Emilio. I'm glad you liked it. Okay, so any final questions? Okay, so and as I say, any elements of workplace that we haven't covered, because obviously we've been focusing specifically on reporting and analytics. So any other elements that you want to know more about, either get in touch with me. My email address there is, I'm putting it into the chat, deborah.coedelo@enovation.ie. So that's my email address if you want to get in touch about anything else, and also our website enovation.ie and YouTube channel. Type in enovation.ie and you can find the other webinar recordings in there. Okay, so it's been lovely having you all here today, and again, don't hesitate to get in touch.